If you're an accredited investor, I have big news. In the last 12 months, I bought 5 major.
Alrighty, Doc here from North America, TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. It's been another fun-filled week. It's what is it? It's next week might be the quieter of the weeks, and then the following week we go on to our holiday. This is where we start to get really, what's the best word to describe it? Just choppy. I mean, it's already choppy, and now we're going even to deeper choppy. And so it just becomes, and not counting the election on top of it all, that has a major effect. What is that? I'm seeing some kind of in and out. Let me just double check this. Let me pause this. Find out what's going on there. I'm seeing I'm seeing a drift in our signal going out. So we'll see what that does. I'm just going to keep the volume up here and see how it goes. All right. Anyway, as you can see there, and hey, how you doing? Good morning to you. And good morning to you, my friend. Welcome to the neighborhood. Will you be my friend? That's right. Good old Mr. Rogers. So, we start off with the Swiss. You can see the Swiss is breaking down a little bit, which means the dollar is going down. You know, you can see that yellow candle right there. Or right there. Let's see if we can move this over. Might even be if I go like that. Grab a hold of it. Let's see. Does it do it? Does it? It does. There we are. There we are. And then we go like that. Let's see, like that. And you can see both of them at the same time, which is kind of neat. And I guess if we move the fact check spreadsheet over more, or not that. Oh, there we go. What are we doing there? Looks like we've got some more action going on. How's that look? Oh, that looks even better. So let's see if we can move this over again. I don't mind losing the numbers on the fact check spreadsheet because what we can do is we can lift it up and bring it like that. There we are. And then we can always just go like that. Now you get a good flavor of both. And you can see the Swiss here. There's it right there. The Swiss right there. You can see we're still a little green in here. But on our Chicago quant, we are moving down at this point. Let's see if we can widen this out. I know there's a button around here somewhere I can widen out. There it is. There we are. You can see we got no dot yesterday that pushed us into the... No, it didn't push us into the cell. We were just very close. And let's check the fact check spreadsheet just to double... But, upload and get rid of it. Line 21, I believe it is. Yeah, so 2 days in a buy, still 3 weeks in a sell right there. And it does look like you can see the challenge is going on. We are trying to get into the weekly buy today. Chances are we will. Over here on the J4X, you can see this is just starting to curve. This has already moved down, but it moved into the minus from the dotted line. So it's giving you that same warning we're getting here. That's why we use these three indicators on the J4X. It kind of gives us 67 to 71% correlation. German Tories. Why Dukascopy is too rigid? What do you mean too rigid? Is it very difficult to work with the exchange? What exchange? German Tories. The exchange? No, they seem to do all right. I don't see any particular problem with Dukascopy. No, let's put it this way. I don't see any more or less, controlled by a brokerage house. In other words, Dukascopy is like the rest of them. Matter of fact, some of them can be really tight. When you say it's difficult to work with them, is that like margin or commission or opening an account? In other words, there's a lot of laws. It doesn't have to have. It's more of the country you're in. We have a big problem here in the States dealing with Dukascopy altogether. That doesn't give our side of the, in this Canada they can do fine. Mexico they can do fine. In the United States we can't use Dukascopy. It's just they're just that messed up. Not Dukascopy. The United States, the way they choose to allow certain brokerage houses to function, others not. Hey, K Live, how are you doing? Short term. Oh, the short term. You can see it's trying to break down in here. You can see the daily right there going into a sell. So German tourists. Tourists. You have to be a little bit more specific. I can try to help you find somebody to deal with it inside Dukascopy, but I don't find Dukascopy, one way or the other when it comes to being tougher or easier as a brokerage house. Matter of fact, in some ways, they're easier. It's all kinds of different situations that go on there. So let me know what problem you have, and I can try to direct you to somebody that can help you. All right. For K Live, you can see here we are trying to bend down. We've got this thing's trying to head down. But notice the weekly right there. Let me just emphasize it really clear. It does look like it's going to climb into the weekly. Okay? And that's trying to insinuate. Hey, Faras. Good to see you. TGIF. Welcome to the hood. That indicates with the euro. The Swiss against the dollar. That indicates that the dollar is going to go up in value. And this has just been a little correction. We'll see. We'll see how they go. If this thing closes in a weekly buy and then this thing climbs back into a daily buy, I guess they're going to try to go after this area here. Also, at the same time, remember, traders, this market is coming into the last 6 weeks of the end of the year. Funds, institutions, central banks, regular banks, commercial banks, they all have to flatten out for the tax season. So what they start to do is they do some choppy trading. So this is not exactly the time to try to build a position or stay with a position as much as it's just a nice short term, like K Live said, So when we go and look at it, to me, short term would be going into something like this here. And let's go find it. Like there's the 1 hourly. Now, I don't pay attention to the hourly. I do everything in ticks or counts. But let's put the Swiss franc in there and see what it looks like. So that is USD right there. And see what the hourly looks like with the for those that do trade the hourly. Look how flat that is. Right there, you can see there's not a lot of excitement. Markets are tangled with our crazy media / our election, and at the same time we're coming into the end of the year. Where funds, institutions, central banks, commercial banks, they all have to flatten out for the end of the year. So there's a lot of issues going on. Excellent. Glad to hear that all is well. Welcome to my neighborhood. Will you be my friend? There you go. We're waiting for this to fill in. Okay, and it will fill in. And we're shifting over to the Swiss there. And I see we have a lot of delay going on. Let me hear where the voice is now, but I can look over on the camera. Right there, you can see. Yeah. But that flat area that we identified there a few seconds ago shows us that the markets don't have a real clear direction. They've climbed up. You can see it here when we squeeze this a little bit tighter like that. You can see it had a wonderful, bold move up over the last, I guess you could say the last 5 days. From the low under 90, it just zoomed up. I mean, just a big zoom over a 2-day period, 2.5 day period. And now it's just digesting. So what we're seeing on the daily, let's go back to that daily. You can see right there, just a little game going on. You can see it couldn't make it into the sell yesterday. This thing is trying to get in. So that is pretty much where it comes down to. I want to ask you about how to download historical data for currencies. I'm not. It depends on the platform you're using. You just have to let me know which platform you're talking about, and we will try to help you out there. There's no problem at all. Just let me know which platform you're using. And if it's the J4X, then it's relatively simple. You can see here, you can go from daily to weekly to monthly. I think there's even a quarterly that's in there somewhere. But that allows you to go back a long time to get a flavor of what's going on there. All right. Let me jump over to, let me just take a look at that daily one more time. Let's go back to that daily. Let's take a peek at the daily. Right there for the dollar Swiss. You see here, it's tightened up dramatically. Let's widen it as much as we can, like that. And you can see there, I mean, it's so flat-lined. Look how tight that is. Enormously flat-lined. And it's trying to make moves, but it's not doing too good a job. When's the last time we've seen something so tight like that? This is an hourly chart. So we went back to the 25th of October. So it's, you know, about 20 days, I guess you could say. And 18 days, and I don't see anything like that. Oh, there's one little spot right there. It got very tight, and then we had a nice little move out of it like that. And you can see here, we tried, and it rolled over. So you can get some big moves out of these very, very, very tight moves. It's a good point of it. Did right there again. It got very tight. But this, look how tight that is. Let's widen that. We'll widen that out and show you how tight that is. Look at that. Just hanging on the line. I mean, remember I designed this to do atomic research. You know, I was using to do it with particle research, my mathematics, so it can get incredibly tight and go out incredible numbers. There's a good example of it. It'll just keep on rolling, you know. So anyway, all right, that's where we are with that. I hope that answered anybody's question in particular. I get a feeling cable will be weak in the short term. Yeah, I noticed that this morning. Let's go take a look at the cable. I did see that. And yeah, look how tight that is. That is tight as tight can be. Let's see. Let's go over to the cable. Right there. And you can see the cable is breaking down a little bit. We went to the sell yesterday. It's over on the fact check spreadsheet. I think it's line 13. It should be in a daily one. Yeah, that's where it is right there. So we're 4 weeks in a buy, 1 day in a sell. And you can see on the weekly basis, it's not really even touching the top of the time manifold. So it's kind of chill. That's what it is. But they are doing it on the daily at the moment. It did go into a daily sell there, like that. There we are. So you can see that pressure on it. Now they did take it down this morning. No, not really. They just started off low and then started to work their way back up. So it's trying to climb back up again. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. So it's trying to strengthen actually right now through our work and through our eyes, and I'm sure J4X is starting to represent that. Not yet, but it will be. Remember, these are little lagging indicators, but they do join in at times. And like I said, about a 70 percentile to match up to our math. So that's a pretty good indicator. You can see here, you know, it's bounced through the bottom side of the time manifold. But again, right here on the weekly basis, it doesn't seem to want to give up at all. So, you know, this might, you know, you can see the strength it's trying to kick in. And maybe what it'll do is on Monday, unless there's a real roar by the end of the day, you know, more likely a chance at Monday maybe of a daily buy. So I agree with you there, Ferris. A feeling a cable will be weak in the short to midterm. And to me, the short to midterm is like the next couple days when we're looking at daily and weekly signals. So yeah, that would make sense. Now, today, as you can see, they're popping it up. We'll see how it plays out from there. All right, let's jump over to the euro and see what the euro looks like in that same universe. You can see that's trying to turn up. Very close to turning up. You can see it's flirting with its weekly sell. This could be a real horse race by the end of the day to see who makes it into the buy and who does not. That does seem to be the recipe at the moment we're looking at. You know, it does seem to be rolling that way. So, you know, we'll see how they do with that. But right now, that's what it looks like to me, is that it's trying. It's trying real hard to, you know, do something to move back up. I have a hard time. I mean, I really do. I'm not a real big dollar bull all the time, but it does seem like they want to buy the dollar right now. I don't know. You know, again, I have to emphasize this enormously to everybody. Trends this time of the year are really bad, guys and gals. Don't become isolated on some type of trend that you think is going to carry you forward. This marketplace goes through this calamity, you know, every year like this. Every year we go into this craziness. And so that is what we're seeing at the moment. And so don't think that, okay, a trend has developed, I'm going to try to ride it. And this is the end of the year. This is where institutions, central banks, even, what is it? They they go and close positions out for the end of the year. They borrow money from the Federal Reserve. You know, it's always funny to watch the Exchequer borrow like 30 or 40 billion dollars for a week. It's like, I thought they could write and create money out of thin air. Why would they waste their time doing that? But they do. So obviously there are rules and regs that we don't see between the central banks and their policies. You know, the games that they're playing or the strategies they're implementing or however you want to phrase it. But there are things that go on that we do not see. I mean, I'm just going to emphasize that over and over for the next 5-6 weeks. All right. Let's see. That's that. Let's take a look at the euro on J4X too at the same time. And there we are right there. You can see it's trying to lift up, just like up on our work right there. And now we got red dots going on there. And what is kind of a little cute. Let's just refresh this to see if we can do it. See if that straightens out that red dot. No, still holding in the red. That's interesting there. So that is where we're at with the euro. The euro, and it's like I said, it's playing with its weekly, as you can see right here. But again, I'm not confident of any trend at the moment. Everything to me is short term, and you know, just get in, get out. That is the only way to look at it at this point in time. All right, let's jump over to, and remember, traders, if anybody wants to see anything, just throw it on the chat line, and we'll put it up there instantly. You know, this way, if you're trading something, at least you get an idea with what the Chicago Quan is saying about it. Okay, doesn't matter if it's cattle, doesn't matter if it's soybeans, it doesn't matter if it's bonds, it doesn't matter if it's stock indices, it doesn't matter if it's crude oil or gold or whatever. You know, if it's the Mexican peso against the dollar, doesn't matter. You know, we'll just jump right to it. All right, now let's go over to the Turkish lira and see what they're doing there, because it's 2 days in a sell. Oh, there's 3 dots in a row. How about that? And look at the way they've got this buried down here too. Wow. And so you can see there on line, which one is it? 17? Yeah, line 17 there. They're making a real strong push to finish this 49 weeks in a weekly buy. I guess, you know, hope is eternal, and I guess they're hoping that the changes at the central bank and the changes at the sovereign fund, maybe that'll open the doorway for, you know, better opportunity and a change of policy. Because obviously the policy that drove it from 1.5 to 8.5 is not exactly making a lot of people excited, and so that's the crutch of that, and that is a crutch. Now let's take a look at J4X. And take a look at how Turkish lira is showing up in there. Right there. Now it does seem to be hanging in that 70s area. You know, it's tighter here. And you can see we've busted through the daily with no problem whatsoever. And down she goes. But look at the weekly. I think I want to even make those weekly bars thickerish. There it is right there. Make them thickerish so you can see them. And we are making a solid dash towards the 0 line. Something we have not seen in, well, we've seen it about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that. And now we're seeing it again in 3 days in a row of red dots. We went 4 or 5 months where we couldn't get, I think we looked at that yesterday. We looked to see if we could find the last time we saw 3 dots in a row. That was August? No. Okay, yeah, so it was June. Or it was going into May. Last time we saw 3 dots, more than 3 dots in a row was May, right there. May 22nd. More than 3 dots in a row. May 22nd. So that is June 22nd and July 22nd and August 22nd and September 22nd, and that is October 22nd, and we're only, what is that, 9 days away from 6 months. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's a big number, you know? That's what's always fun about our quant mathematics is, you know, how much we see insightfulness. And we talk about that, you know, just when you think like, okay, the math is going all wrong, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, and you've taken it on the chin from it a little bit, the next thing you know, it straightens itself out. It does that all the time. It's like a thinking, it's like a consciousness, the math. It's something very wild. All right, now since the Turkish lira is heading down, let's take a look and see what the Canadian is doing. The Canadian has that tendency to follow the trend of the Turkish lira, and so in this case here, it is losing money still against the dollar, which is a little curious. And you can see we're even threatening to go into a weekly buy. We can even put our cute little circle around it at the moment. There you go. So it's trying to get into a weekly buy. We're in a daily buy for a couple days. Let's just double check the fact check spreadsheet right there. 2 days in a daily buy, 3 weeks in a weekly sell. And so we can put that in there, put the line in there like so. There we are. So there's some strength kicking in here, and this thing's been trying to tell us it wants to go up. This is telling us it's going up. And that's the action we're seeing there. All right. Where do we go from here? Unless anybody sees anything they want to look at. Forex. Hey, did I answer your question? I just double checking when I look on the tape there. I'm gonna make sure. Doc, what a hairpin was on the pair yesterday? Let's see. On the euro against the SEK. What is that? Is that the Scandi? Let's go check that out. Let's find a place for that. Euro against something. Let's choose one of the euros. There's Euro NZD. So let's try putting it in there. And we'll see what that looks like. I don't know if we've ever looked at this one. Looks like fun to me. Euro. What did I do wrong there? Let's try that again. EUR. There we are. How about that? I don't see it in there. Now why is that not in there? Let's try this. So we go what? Comma SEK. Add. Cash. EUR. Look up. There it is. We've never looked at this one before, so this is going to be interesting. Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, I love it when we come after something new. So let's check it out. All right. Now, right there. We'll put it up on J4X. And let's see, it's filling in there. Let's go over to J4X. And let's see what it looks like on J4X. Euro SEK. Yeah, we've never looked at it here. That is cool. We'll do that today. Euro dot SEK. Not there. That didn't want to do it. All right, let's try something else. Oh, let's do it. Let's try it this way. Shift EUR / S. There it is, right there. Yeah, so it's a kroner. Okay. So I thought. I haven't looked at the kroner in a long time. That's something. Let's see how. Oh, wow. Did that really happen yesterday? It's a. Well, yeah, I guess it did. Look at it right there. Did it there? Yes, indeed. Okay. So I don't know what that's all about. I didn't even see the news there. We'll have to check that out. Daniel, do you know anything about this? With Bitcoin at 16.2, a bit curious if it would top the short. What does your math say? I'll take a look at that. Do you know anything about this, Daniel? The SEK? Well, we go take a look at that real quick. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, and we'll come right back to this. Just want to see where Bitcoin is. I'm like 24 or 25 days in a buy in Bitcoin now. Right there. Yeah, it's still marching up. And there it is today. That's yesterday. Where's our future today? Why is it not filling in? They're not making any trades out of it at the moment. That's odd. Let's see if we can change the format on this. Let's see what happens when we go 24/7. There it is. It puts that stupid gap in there on Fridays. Well, it's higher, that's for sure. It's trading at what is that? 16,495 at the moment. Okay. And so now let's go back to the kroner. Let's see, where is it at? Euro kroner. It's here somewhere. There it is. Now you can see it wasn't a sell. Let's see. Let's move that over to there. Move that one over to there. It wasn't a sell. We're going to resync this whole thing too, like that. And then we can move that one out of the way. That went into the sell there. And we didn't go into a buy until... Did we even make it into the buy out of any of this? Let's move these out of the way. Because right now it looks like it could have been in a long, long, long sell. So it goes into, let's consolidate this more. So it went into the, it was in a buy there. Let's do that. So we'll go with that buy. And then the sell is right here. And it goes into a buy there. So, and then we can widen that out a little bit so you can see it a little bit better before that big spike up. And then, did it make it into the sell there? It did. Yeah, it did. Did it? What is this? This is the Super 3.5. Let's just double check 3.5. Okay. All right, so it's the 1 and the 4 plot. So it went into the sell there. Let's move that over there, like so. So it went into, okay, so what did it do there? That stayed into the sell. So this is all in the sell. Then it goes into the buy there. Come on, move over, you can do this. And then it goes back into the buy right there. So let's see, where's it at? Let's put that in there. So it goes back into the buy right there. And then we were in a sell for this big sell-off right here, whatever that's all about. Now let's just clean up the top a little bit on the dailies, and then we'll try to analyze it a little bit more. So there's a sell right there. We were in a sell for the slide, so that's cool. And then, let's see, there's a sell there. There's a buy. Is that a buy? That's no buy. Nope. That's still in a sell because there's no red dot. No green dot, I'm sorry. So that's in a buy. No, that's not in a buy. Let's move this over too. So then this sell is here. Let's just make this bigger just to double check it. Yeah, okay, so that's in the sell. And then it can't get into the buy because it's, let's just double check it with a green. But I think it's a red dot. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll know in a second. It did. It got into a buy there. Then it goes back into the sell the following day. And then let's just double check this one to see if it made it into the buy. It couldn't because it's a red and a green. Yeah, see a red and a green. So no. So we move that back over to there. So it was in a cell there, and a cell from here down to, I guess, yeah, so it went into the buy here. Okay, so this buy can be brought over here. There we are. There's the buy for those 2 days, and it goes back into a cell here. So, Daniel, you know anything about the kroner? What was all about that? Let's see. 10-12 at it was yearly S1. Is this another monthly settlement thing going on simultaneously? As far as news, not much as far as I know. I'll look through the Fed spreadsheet to see if it was some type of thing with the Fed. They do things this time of the year, and we always show this at the webinar, throughout the webinar, especially going into the following year, like the first couple of weeks afterwards. We always get the news out of the Fed spreadsheet that they go borrow something or they do something. I don't know. As far as, let me just try to describe what I believe is going on for the newbies that are here. What happens is that the central banks work with each other, of course. We know that. They're the buyers of last resort compared to the old days where the brokerage houses and the exchanges were buyers of the last resort. And the funds would be, talked into getting involved. So now the central banks are the buyer of last resort, and the markets act extremely sloppy from it, I guess you could say, in some ways, but very disciplined in others. So let me rephrase that. All right, so what happens is this. You hear a finance minister or our treasury secretary say they're not manipulating their currency. They always, somehow or another, they come out and make these statements out of nowhere, like out of left field. It's like, what's that got to do with, the cost of tea in China? But they do. They come out of nowhere saying, they usually put a list out and they say, these countries are not manipulating their currencies out of nowhere. They do this like every quarter, okay, or every half a year. And then what we end up seeing is the Fed balance sheet that they publish. We see like weeks or months later, there's some type of balancing of a position, like they lent the Swedes money for 90 days or 30 days, and you can see it on the balance sheet that they actually lent them money. Now, I always say the same thing over and over again. All these central banks in all these countries are printing money. Why do they need to go to the Federal Reserve to borrow money and pay interest on it? Why don't they just float money themselves? Print it. Even if it's in a what do you call it? Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I'm happy too, K Live. I think it's really great that Daniel had something to say about it. Always willing to hear S1 and S2. So in the end result, what happens? They must have. This is my guess. They must have a channel developed. They must have rules between all themselves, but they don't tell us what they are. Okay, and so long as they're staying inside those rules, they're allegedly not manipulating their currency. And then what happens is that if they need to print more money for what I'm suggesting, what they do is that would upset staying inside the channels, staying inside the range. And so instead of being labeled a manipulator, they go directly to the Federal Reserve. They borrow the money. They print the money to compensate for the interest payment, but they borrow the money. Figuring that if they borrow something for 60 days, it may only cost them like, $40 or $50 million or $80 million. Well, it's pretty easy to get away with printing $40 or $80 million in a world where you might have to borrow $20 billion. So that's what's going on. That's what Doc is talking about. And I know it sounds strange, but we've seen it on paper. We've seen it in print. We've seen it, and we've shown you, throughout the webinars of the end of the years, that action. We show you that. And it always amazes me. Like I said, imagine you're a central bank and you're borrowing, $28 billion a month from, you're printing $28 billion worth of whatever your currency is a month, and you're putting it into your marketplace for quantitative easing. Well, if at the end of the year you got to settle up, wouldn't it make sense to print like $29 billion instead, or 29 and a quarter? and just do it straight throughout the year. Stay inside the channels. And then at the end of the year, you don't have to borrow. I guess I'm answering my own question. I guess the logic really is that go print the 40 or 50 million that you need to pay for the interest, and go borrow it from the Federal Reserve and look like you're a good player. Maybe that's the exact way of doing it. I guess that is the way they like to do it. We've proven it over and over again. It's the weak CPI yesterday was the drop on the, and is that what it was, Daniel? The weak CPI? That's a heck of a drop, though, isn't it? What did it do? It dropped from, what did it do? Went from 1025 down to like 9. No, it was at, no, what is that? What's the low there? 942? Was that like a massive illiquidity situation, right? I mean, that's what it really was, just massive illiquidity out of nowhere. I mean, that's the only way I interpret that. So, all right. I hope that helped out. You know, we can see on our work, you know, it does, the kroner does do a pretty good job of following the math, where the math follows the kroner, does a good job. Like, you know, the pop before that, we're in a weekly buy. That was actually a buy you could do. The sell here, you know, it's not, you know, we're in a weekly buy, so you can't take the sell. And then, where's there? There's the buy. There's the buy there, and you're in a buy there, and you can take it. It's a little nice ride up. And then let's grab some of these back ones. There's a sell right there. There's a buy right there. Right there. There's the buy right there. That's the sell. And then, let's see, we'll put that right there for the time being. And then we put a buy in here again, like so. And then that sells good. And then we can take this sell, move it over there, and move the buy into it there. Yeah, right there. Very short-lived, but it's in a sell now, so you can only take the sells, not the buys. When you're in a weekly sell, you take the sells. When you're in a weekly buy, you take the buys. So let's see, move that over to there too. There we are there. Interesting. So that's pretty good. The kroner does do a good job on it. Well, I hope so. I try. Let's put it that way. I wrote above about the 0.4 and the 0.3, but mostly technical IMO. Okay, so yes, I see that on the CPI. Yeah. Wow, that's a heck of a drop for just the 1/10. You know, I guess that's a big thing. You know, I guess if it was 0.39, I guess that would have been better. I guess that's the answer to that, huh? You know, these are thin markets this time of the year. You get a lot of strange stuff like that, and you get a lot of settlement stuff going on. You get funds trying to settle up what they need to do, and you know, it just goes on and on. That beat goes on. It doesn't stop. It's a consistency. It just won't go away. So, shall we jump over to something else? Anybody want to see anything? Let me know. Let's see, where are we at? We just left. We're leaving the dollar or the euro kroner. So let's jump over to, let's see, we've done pretty much everything. Oh, NASCAD. Let's see what NASCAD looks like. See if it's still lifting. It was lifting, now it's pulling back. And so you can see that. Now what we do is we go over to crude oil from that. And there's crude oil. And crude oil is moving down, which is really a surprise. You would think with the NASCAD lifting, but then sometimes, you know, it moves that way. So we're looking at the NASCAD moving a little bit down, and we see the oil contract itself moving down. Now, that's been in the daily sell. That's what I was talking about. You know, the math is telling us from here, since that crazy, you know, that big gap, and the traders are watching it. We're in a weekly sell, and more than likely it's probably going to find itself back down into this 38 or 39 area, something like that. And that's how the math works. It'll torture you. That's why we like to trade options with it more than we like to trade hard delta with it, just because of it's, you can, in a position like this, we would still have the puts on, and we'd be saying, okay, it's coming back. It's not bad, that type of thing. So let's see now, what do we do from here? I guess what we can do is, let's do a reload to just double check it. That looks fine. You can see it's heading towards the lows of its day, and obviously, like I said, we've been in a sell since right here, since the news came out about the discovery of the virus remedy. And you can see here, I guess because the crazy governors that love lockdown are trying to lock down the country for 4 to 6 weeks again. They just, I think none of it makes any sense to me. Well, let's take a look at gold. Gold, you can see here, gold is trying to turn upward, but look at this on the histogram. The weekly is doing it, but the daily is not. So we go like that and like that. And you can see there, it's trying to, but it's having a hard time getting going. So we can't put a line in here even, because it's, and that is the 13th. It's trying to get into a buy, but it's not doing too good a job. That'll be interesting. We close in a weekly buy, and then we get into the daily buy with the white line and the histogram going above the zero line next week. It's guns blazing, be long. It's the winner, winner, chicken dinner trade right there. Let's see, anything else out there? I don't see any other questions at the moment. Traders, don't be tongue-tied. You're welcome to ask any questions. Let's take a look at the stock indices right here. They are showing some strength here this morning. You can see the line is trying to get there. We have no dot at the moment, but you can see the weekly is trying to go into a sell. I don't know if that means we're going to get this and then get it back to a buy, and we're going to get another nice run like that. Next week could be the final, going into the middle of next week could make it very clear who won the election. We'll find out going into possibly Wednesday, Thursday, possibly, because these recounts go on for only 5 days. So, they're going to, remember, this is a little odd that this is going on to begin with. I mean, usually elections are over with in 5 or 6 hours, not 5 or 6 days. This is just the what they call the battleground states, where you have Democrat governors are just holding things up. Even North Carolina, they just refuse to give the credit to Mr. Trump with it. They still want it, but they have a Democrat governor, so he's trying to block it at the moment. So that is what we see there. Now you can see here, this is trying to get into the buy here today. It's pushing, and this is, what product is this? This is a NASDAQ. NASDAQ is trying to get into the buy. Let's just reload it one more time just to get a flavor for that. But that is making things crazy. Oh, there we go. Here's Middle Age. Hey, Middle Age, looks like Chicago wheat completed a head and shoulders top on the daily. Maybe take a look on the corn too. Most definitely. Let's check it out. I just want to save this. And that is the NAS and Qs. Where's that? Right there. There we go. And let me open up right there. Let's go look at the grains. As it loads up. And I just want to see, there it is. So let's go to, was it wheat? Which wheat? Chicago wheat, right? Yeah, Chicago wheat is we're looking at the deck wheat. Is that deck wheat? Chicago wheat, we can look at the deck wheat. We can look at both of them. So there's deck wheat, and you're saying head and shoulders. Yeah, I see that. There's the one side. There's the head. There's the shoulder. We're even threatening the weekly on that. You can see that there. Now let's go take a look at the March wheat. Same situation probably. Right there. There's March wheat. That's spring wheat. That's already in the sell right there. Weekly's trying to do it. Same head and shoulders thing. So are both of them in sells? Let's just double check that again. Yeah, they're both in sells. So they've been in daily sells for, what's that, like 6 days now? 2, 5, 6, going on a 7th day of sell. Both of them have been in sells for a while. Let's take a look at red wheat out of Minneapolis. Right there. And that's a March spring wheat. Doing the same thing, a lot of pressure there. Doing the same pattern of the head and shoulders. Yep, you're right. Now let's take a look at corn. There's deck corn. You can see right there. It tried to do a head and shoulders. This could be the head here instead. It could be on a delay, but then we're in 2 days in a sell, but we're still in a weekly buy there. Now that's deck corn. Let's see what the back month looks like in March corn right there. There's March corn. That's in a daily buy, March corn. Huh. You can see it's trying to break down, but that's from the spike. Let's reload it. So that's the what is that? That's the March Chicago corn. And then when we go back and look at DAC, that's already in the sell from yesterday. Yeah, from yesterday. All right, and then what did I look at? Was it red wheat? Red wheat is fighting that, right? Or no, I guess it was March corn is fighting it. That's what it is. March corn is fighting it. Okay. We'll see how that holds up. How's that? Middle age? Pretty good? We can look at something else in there if you want to go look at the grains. I'm going to jump back over to silver, but we can go look at anything else you'd like to see. I'm trying to think. Was it hogs are going down? And cattle? We can move this down today. And cattle is trying to get into the buy. I think that's how that's playing out right now. Let's reload this. We'll take a look at that in a second. I just wanted to reload this. I want to see what silver's doing. There's silver right there. Okay, we'll come back to silver. I just want to take a quick look at the meats. Let's look at the meats. So that's February hogs. Pressure down. Let's see what the front month looks like. Pressure down. There's a head and shoulders here too. There's one side of the shoulder, there's the head, and we're still working the other side here. Let's see what... There's the Feb. The Feb's doing the same thing too. Except for you had this little gulps right there and so forth. But look at the weekly. That's pressuring too on the downside. Now let's see what cattle looks like in December. Cattle seems to be coming out of a bottom and trying to get into the buy. Interesting. All right, we're going to jump back to silver on the commodities again. And then, but if you want to see something else, just say it, and I'll go after it. We'll take a look at it. So there is silver. There we are. And you see silver's trying to lift up. We thought it was going to try to go after this area here again. We'll see. I mean, we got, look at that. The weekly has found its way back up. Remember, it was minus there yesterday. Now it's trying to get into the plus. It's back into the plus again. So if this gets into the daily buy tonight, tonight's Friday, we may be talking about this again, how this has gone into a daily buy and it's held the weekly buy, and silver is trying to make its move up. Now, gold, on the other hand, is having a problem on the daily basis. Let's just refresh that. But gold is having a problem with that. Let's take a look at like copper or something like that. There's copper. Let's reload that. Now copper's a second day in a daily buy, and this is holding up. It's been in a daily sell for a couple of weeks. So this looks like it's trying to tell us that they want to make another dash to the upside. Now the white line went after the time manifold, but they're both in the plus territory, so it's a buy birdie. Let's check that out. There you are. Let's see, Copperado. There we go. So copper showing that strength also, and we're seeing that strength in the metals. I wonder what platinum's doing. I think platinum closed in a buy yesterday too. Yeah, platinum's been in a buy for 2 days and trying to climb back up to where it closed at it. You can see the weekly's trying to get into the buy. So I guess there is some buying strength in the metals complex. That's what it comes down to. And the gold is like the least of the active players at the moment. Interesting. Very interesting. There we are. All right. Anything else out there, traders, that you'd like to look at? We can go look at anything. That was cool looking at the kroner today, you know. I haven't had a kroner up on a screen in, I don't know, half a decade. So far, so much that it wasn't even saved in the system on either the J4X or the Chicago Quant. Neither of them were saved at that level. So, all right. Let's see. What should we switch over to now? We've looked at all the metals, and let's take a look at the bonds. See what the bonds look like. Bonds seem to be holding up in here. Second day on a buy. The weekly looks like it's going to try to pierce. Let's put our little green circle around that. There we are. That's a curious situation going on because, you know, prices were coming down pretty hard, and now all of a sudden they're coming back up. So let's see, where's that? That would be right there. There we are. And there's natural gas. Natural gas was curious. I saw natural gas earlier. That was very interesting. It's holding up in that daily buy for going into a third day here, but we're still in the weekly sell, so it's really trapped. You know, it was an okay sell here, gave you some instant gratification to pay for whatever. Well, there was no long on that side, so it doesn't matter. But you know, whatever loss you might have had in this product, that made it back. That's for sure. Nat gas. There we are. I don't see any other questions coming in. I guess it's Friday. Everybody wants to. Some people that are in this webinar are probably saying, like, I had enough for the week. You know, this is enough fun in 1 week. So I'd imagine that's part of the action we're seeing today, is that everybody's trying to get to the weekend. And, you know, with the politics and the end of the year and all this stuff, it's irritating trading. You know, just very irritating. So I don't doubt why people would want to, like, try to run away from, you know, the markets at this point in time. In other words, not participate. It makes sense not to. You know, just little ins and outs. You know, waiting for little opportunities here and there. That's about it. But this is not the time to build at some type of position. This is the time to covet profits. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. All right. What else can we look at here? There's a 30-year bond. Oh, no, there's Robo. Let's check that out. Another energies. Yeah, you can see that Robo is still in the sell, and it's in the daily sell. We can get rid of that circle at this point. Remove. So the pressure's been on, and this has been going the wrong way. It protected you here, which is all right. And then it did it squeeze you? It squeezed you here. There you go. Robo went into the sell on this one, and for 2 days it fought you, and now it's giving you your profit. Again, that's why options are always much more desirable than a hard delta. You get stopped out. Next thing you know, you're saying, why did I get stopped out? So, Robo right there. Interesting. Definitely interesting. And there's the 30-year compared to the 10-year, you know, which is the big thing that everybody watches nowadays is the 10-year. You can see here the 30-year. Let's reload that. Interest rates are coming down again. They you know, when this is going down in value, interest rates are rising, and when this thing is rising, interest rates are coming down. And so in this case here, you can see not only that, we've got a weekly trying to pierce itself today, and it's been trying to pierce it all week long. So there it is right there, and we're a second day in a buy on the 30-year bond also. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And here is the other stock indice we follow. This is the mid cap Russell, or I guess the low cap Russell nowadays. And you can see the pressure. It's trying to get into a weekly sell with the other stock indices. And let's just reload it. And then let's save it. There we go. For the Chicago Quant. Let's see, right there. And then who's left here? We've got the Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin, you can go on our fact check spreadsheet. You can see that right there. We're where is that? 25 days in a daily buy, 8 weeks in a weekly buy. This thing's just been rocketing straight up. This thing doesn't want to let go. It just wants to keep on climbing. We'll see. I mean, this could it be money running towards it because of the election and the end of the year? I mean, that would make sense to me. We'll find out because I think Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to have a good idea who won the election. Let's see. And then what's left is, I think it's the S&Ps, because we did look at copper. That's copper there. Not the S&Ps. This Dow Jones Industrial Average is trying to do this. Maybe it's going to sell. Did it get into the buy there? I don't think that got into a buy, did it? Let's double check that. What is that? That's a plus, isn't it? Yeah, that's a plus. And that line should be down like that. That's the zero line right there. That's what it is. Okay. That makes sense. And this is inching along. We'll see that there's also talk of some type of stimulus again. I mean, they talk about the stimulus like it's like a slice of pizza. They get very, I don't know, very odd about the whole thing. And there's you can see there with the copper just marching its way up. Let's just double check it there like that. There we are. Copper right there. There we go. I don't see anybody asking any particular questions about anything. And we're getting ready to get out of here. So, traders, everybody have a safe and smart weekend. We will catch you on Monday. So this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. Happy trails to you until we meet again. That'll be on Monday. Happy trails to you, to all.